everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for stopping by, keeping me company as usual. If you're here with me for the first time, welcome, welcome. Please remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up from now on, please, as well as share and leave your comments in the comments section. You're quite welcome to do so. To my subscribers, welcome back. Always lovely to have you and reading your comments. So keep the comments going, guys. Keep it going. As well as I would like you to give the video a thumbs up from now on. You know the ropes, right? Please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up from now on. Share before you rejoin me. Share as widely as possible because we need to get the message out that we put here at Jamaica 411. We need to get the message also from Karen Cross and from Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Yes, please. We need to get those messages out. There is Steady Show. Please get his message out as well as Mr. Vegas. We don't know all the channels, but you know all the channels that are carrying the message of ensuring that our people understand why that Englishman must not find himself in Jamaica House. Not even as a visitor. We don't want him near our house, period. Not Ville Royal, not Jamaica House. We don't want him in our parliament. So those are the messengers, and this is a message we would like shared with our Jamaican family. Whenever you find them, those who see the danger, those who would like to have the danger averted, please share the message. We need every voter in Jamaica to hear. We need our youngsters to be aware of it, and we need our elders to be aware. So please spread the message. And you can always rejoin me. I know you're excited to hear what it is I have to say, but please share first, like the video first, and then rejoin me. Of course, I'll wait for you, right? Yes. And before you go sharing, I'd like to thank you all in advance. Great. All right. So now that you're back with me, let's get down to business. So, in the last few days, there's much surprise in some quarters and consternation. Yes, surprise and consternation in some quarters, and delight in other quarters, and a wondering in others. Now, despite the fact that we had the hurricane last year in June, that perhaps is the first time in recorded history, Jamaica's recorded history, that we had a hurricane in June. But even with the hurricane, and despite the decline in the economy, yes, because many industries would have been affected by the hurricane. You would have the water supply, electricity would be affected. So those businesses that depend on water to carry on the business as well as light, they would have been affected. Then you would have buildings being damaged where you have storehouses and so on. And then the farm would be damaged. Construction can't go on without water and that sort of thing. Of course, there would have been increased demand on trucking of water, and they would try and get that out to people as much as possible because, human beings cannot live more than 3 days without water. They can go on for quite a while, days, maybe weeks without food, but 3 days without water. And therefore, it's crucial that you get water to people. So because of that, the economy, they said, declined by 3.5%, I do believe. Yes. And even with that, being consummate optimist as we should be, because the human brain is I call it a confidence machine. It is a truth machine and a confidence machine. And when you have those two things going, that is when your brain will be in a receptive state to function at its best, its maximum. Your innovation, your creativity will be at its very best. And being consummate optimists, the Jamaican consumers sees a bright future ahead. You know why? Because we are going to make it so. The business people see a bright future ahead. Why? Because they are going to make it happen. Whenever there is a trial of we, black people especially, we don't mope. We don't wallow in our lot in life. We see the trial as an opportunity. We see the trial as an opportunity to make the future better. And that is the reason why you will notice whenever it is that we have some hardship, catastrophe, whatever you want to call it, not only do we see our best selves because we help ourselves and we help others too. We're at our very best and we feel our very best when we do so, when we help others. So we turn, yes. And so disasters don't deter us, it spurs us. And that is why no matter what you see being thrown at us, we will always see a brighter future. Because if you're at ground zero, then there is no place else to go other than up. You're following me? Yes. So with the hurricane and the setback, and people don't have no roof, and people don't, farmland mash up and all them kind of things there. When the surveyor went to them said, of course, this future is very bright. And that is because they see where they are now, they knew where they were before, and therefore they know that with the same effort and resilience and determination, then they will be back in the same position. But that is not all. They are going to see where they are going to even make it better than they were before. So when Don Anderson went out into the field to do this survey, he was commissioned by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. The survey has been going on since 2001, and I would like to plead with them, the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, to have on your website or somewhere a table which shows what the confidence was quarter by quarter or year by year, so that we can make comparisons very easily, because it makes no sense that you're putting out these surveys and the surveys, the people are only going to hear what it is per quarter, but they cannot look at it to see how well the country is doing. Seems to me like that is just a waste of time. If the maximum effect that you hope to have is to give information, and the information you expect to have some effect or to do something for the people, why would you be spending your money if not? But just coming out to tell us quarter by quarter, when I was looking for the whole table, I couldn't find it. I have to be making up one myself. No, people are not going to do that. So I'm going to show you what it is that I found. And because we don't have the benefit of the overall picture since 2001, I went back to 2018. I hope I'm correct, because in some instances like this last survey, Don Anderson, him think him smart, These people are actually paying this man to conduct a survey, and he clearly is attempting to use this survey, in my view, in an event, right? Trying to make the survey and take the positive and make it as negative as possible. He told us what the figure was for the business optimism. And having done so, he failed to tell us what the figure was for the consumer. None of the media houses reported it. And when they played this clip, he never mentioned it. He only said the figure was up by 3.9%. How the hell can he be at this function and don't say what the numbers were for the consumer? How can he not say what the numbers were for the consumer confidence? None of the media houses reported on what he said. Not Loop News, not RGR, not Nationwide, not TVJ News, not the Gleaner, not the Observer, said what the consumer confidence figure was. Why? And they don't seem to notice that he never said it. I mean, I don't understand what these people in media are about. Anyway, they gave us sufficient clues so we could do the research and the addition. So you will hear shortly what that is. But in the meanwhile, what I'm going to do is to give you a little idea as to what the business and consumer confidence means, what implication it has for the future, as well as we're also going to let you hear from two sources, from RGR and Nationwide News Network, their report on the matter. But in the meantime, the question you're asking is, what the dickens is this business and consumer confidence? Yes, you have a fair idea what it is, but let us see if there's anything else we might learn. Let us begin with business confidence. What exactly is business confidence? It says, by definition, business confidence refers to the level of optimism. You know, whether you feel good, you feel happy, you feel joyful about something. And pessimism, of course, is the opposite. So business confidence refers to the level of optimism or pessimism that business owners and managers have about the current and future state of the economy. So they're talking about people, the owners of businesses, as well as the managers. That's who they talk to. And they want to know from them, so what you think the economy are going with, right? At present, what you think are going. And them also want to know what they think will happen in the future based upon what are going at present. That's what that means. It goes on to say it reflects their willingness to invest, hire, and expand operations, which can have significant impacts on aggregate demand. And when you see them talk about aggregate demand, I'm talking about the total demand. That means to say what you demand, what your neighbor demand, what the people elsewhere in the country demand, right? And demand meaning to say they want service or they want goods. So when you go and you feel like a little banana or feel like you want to roast some dumpling, you fellas when you go out in the field, when you make some cartwheel, yes. When you go and buy, your desire to buy those items, that is what they refer to as a demand. And of course, those persons who wish to supply your demand, they would buy the stuff and make it available to you. Those are called the suppliers, and what they have done is supplied items, goods and services which you demand. The consumer is king, right? Great. So they are saying now, when it comes to the business confidence, the survey is trying to determine what the owners of the business and managers think about the economy, the performance of the economy, and based on that, what they think will happen in future. And several things is going to affect that. I can tell you from now. One of them would be the consumers themselves. It is the consumers and how you spend, whether you spend or not, that is what is going to drive business confidence. That one is the key. That's the first thing that the businessman and the managers look at, because if they must sell something, they need buyers, right? Now, if you are buying, when them buy them stock, remember now when you buy stock, for those of you in business or some of you who have tried it, or you're purchasing managers, when you buy stuff, you buy it to last a certain time. You don't want to be going backward and forward, because transportation cost is going to add to your, diminish your profit, and you don't want that. So you might decide that you want to run an inventory. You want to have stuff on your shelf and in the stock warehouse to last, you say, 3 weeks. And for smaller business, it might be 1 week, right? And then you are going to do your business, and every week you go on your count off your stock and you replenish it. And all of a sudden, you see this thing them a fly off of your shelf. In other words, them a buy up the things them that you have to go to the wholesalers or wherever, go and get your products or order them less than the time than you normally would, which means money is in the economy and people are spending. And of all the things that are important to the business owner and the managers is that you are spending money with them, right? So it is what you do as consumers that determine how optimistic a businessman and the managers of the business will be. You're following me? Yes. Now, another thing that they will look at is government policies. Yes. And government policies can impact negatively, but it does not trump the consumer, because even if the government are going with things, but the consumer still buying, or the government go on with things and the consumer buy more, then they will be very optimistic now about the future, right? Because the policies are working. If, on the other hand, you just turn up with some money, things are going on the economy, and you start spending, they will be optimistic as well for the future. But you see, if it was the government policies, the government did something, and that pan out, that will make them kind of super confident. You know what I mean? Yes, because it looked like everything is coming together. That's right. So that is what the business confidence is really about. Let me see if they say anything else that I have not preempted them and said to you. Yes, they have other interesting facts for us. So they say 5 must know facts for your next test. So positive business confidence can lead to increased investments for obvious reason. Because if you start to buy the things them off of them shelf and they have to restocking earlier than they anticipated, that is what tells the businessman more than anything else how well the economy is doing. And they will talk to them other business people, their peers, and they would say, yes man, I see anything we noticed too. And they will call some other people and say, you are so and so. And they call people a month, you go be and call people all about one or one if the same, they're experiencing the same thing, or it's just a fluke in their area. And if they hear, yes man, me notice it too. And such down at Westmoreland and Hanover and all about the places say the same thing too, then they will know that something positive is going on. And so, because the things are flying off the shelf, it can cause a little problems for them business. You're not good for going out business place, go see empty shelf. It will look like them soon gone out of business, and it will be very bad for business. So oftentimes what they will do is, if they don't want to spoil it, they have savings, they will dip into the savings, because every time they restock sooner than usual, they may have to dip into savings. They may have to get a loan to make up, because now they have to buy more. You follow? So they have to buy more to keep the shelves full for the same 1 week period or 2 week period or 3 week period. They want the items on them shelf. And that now has implications for the present workers that they have. They may decide that they need to hire 2 more people to do this or do that, to pack the shelf and so on. And so that is what they mean when they said that the increase in confidence, the confidence, is what you gave them as consumers, and them see something that is happening to their stuff on the shelves, and they now need to respond. And that means they have to buy more, and they may need more people. The persons who are going to deliver the items will find that them getting more jobs too, then getting more calls, right? The wholesaler who is doing the delivery may find that he need to find more trucks, because the demands are coming in for the product, and I'm going to have to increase his production too. So I'm going to order from foreign, and it just has a domino effect of positive actions. So that now is what they mean by the positive business confidence can lead to increased investment, because all of what I just told you about, buying more stock, producing more, that is them putting up more money to increase their production and increase their investment into the business, because they want to make more money, right? Yes. It also leads to increased hiring, I just explained, and all of that is resulting in an expansion of business. And if it is an overall expansion all over the island, then you're talking about an expanded economy, which is also expanding the job market. Remember, we spoke about that in our last video? Yes. And that is what positive business confidence will do. And then all of that is driven by you. It's only the actions of the consumers that is going to make them positive. They can also anticipate mind if a government puts a certain policy in place, but that policy will take a little time to work itself into the economy and start benefiting them. That could also increase their confidence. I should also mention that, right? But as time goes on, if the increase that they anticipate occur and business start to look good, things are fly off on them shelf, that it will maintain their confidence over time. On the other hand, if the positivity that they anticipate from the government action, the government policy, does not materialize, then you know what will happen, right? Yes, they will go, the business confidence will dip. All right, so that's that. So positive business confidence leads to hiring, expansion, which in turn can boost the aggregate demand. And that stands to reason if they are hiring more people, if more people is being hired across the economy, especially if it's an island-wide confidence, shift in confidence upward, then the increased hiring and investment, especially hiring, is going to increase the demand because more people will be employed. Is what I'm saying? Yes, so there'll be more people now with money in their pocket, and they will be looking to buy things that they never had before, especially if them just start out in life. They want to go live somewhere. Yes, they want to move out of mommy and daddy's house, and them want, they want to start them family. So, and they want them independence too. So them rent a little apartment and then buy up them this and them furniture and them fridge and then bed. First thing them buy is them bed. Yes. So that increase in hiring, in employment, will increase the total demand. You follow? Yes. Now, number 2 says, what now effect that negative business confidence has? Well, it says negative business confidence can result in reduced investment, hiring, and expansion, leading to a contraction in aggregate demand. Yes. So, if something happens in the economy, generally it's usually something that government does that cause the business people to be, not so confident about the future, or if they're not see not go on, they may not feel so confident. Some disaster may take place elsewhere. Something may be happening to cause them not to feel so optimistic about the future. And when that happens, they tend not to spend. When people have anticipation that problem down the line, them tend to hold on the money because them figure so they might need it. You understand? So them not spending, them not hiring, and therefore not expanding the business means that you're not having more people employed. And if there's no more people employed, indeed, if the negative confidence is as a result of some, government might put tax on them or put tax on them what the raw material or something that's going to have a cost implication to them and make them lose profits, then now they may lay off people, and that would mean now those people will not have any money in their pocket to spend. So therefore the total demand for goods and services is going to reduce. Follow? Yes. The next one, though, they said business confidence is often influenced by factors such as economic growth, inflation, interest rates, and government policies. No, I only spoke about government policies. Yes. So when them here said the economy growing, so this now is where these figures that government put out will have a positive impact. The poor man, 83% on the minimum wage, him no business about them something there. So if you're a government and you want to win election, you better focus on what them business with. While at the same time, you put out figures that would influence the behavior of others. It may influence them positively, it may influence them negatively, meaning to say they might be optimistic or not, based upon the performance figures that you're putting out for the economy, job market, and all them kind of something there. Yes. So when the business people hear that the economy is growing, woo, that sounds good. But if them don't feel it, if they're not experiencing that growth, meaning to say the things them now fly off of the shelf, it will not have any impact at all on what they do, because they're not going to spend more money, right? Unless they're going to be innovating and going into something else that they think that people will buy and boost business. That's what they will do, right? But they are not going to spend unless you them a look upon and a watch. All of the business people a watch how you spend and buy with them. Only a few business people are risk takers, right? And will go out of them way and anticipate you. You have others who will invest in new products if they think that that will increase sale and that is what you want, right? Great. So the growth in the economy that they're hearing about will influence their confidence, but what it may not result in is them spending, right? That now is going to be influenced, as I said before, by the fact that there are business coming their way. That is what now will make them invest and hire more people. So how do you tell now which one of the confidence, what is influencing the business confidence, and whether or not it's having an impact on the economy? That now is when you see your unemployment rate going down. When you see the unemployment rate going down, that means to say that the people investing or the people are finding ways to go into business for themselves, right? And that is an opportunity for them. So that is what tells you now whether the confidence is translating into positive economic effect on the lives of people. Remember, the economy is about people. Business is also about people, right? That's what it all comes down to at the end of the day, people. So we're going to pay close attention to next quarter to see whether or not the unemployment rate reduced further. It now stands at 3.5%. I understand. Now remember, don't be fooled by that 3.5%. At the moment, there are only thereabouts of 86,000 persons who are seeking jobs. But you see, as more and more jobs become available, people get excited. And those persons who are not employed at the moment because they gave up, right? They might decide that, boy, look like say job out there now, me can't get job. And the reason why they would have given up is because they tried so hard to get a job and it never happened for them, etc. They might find other ways to survive, and some of them do. Others may be in a relationship, and they may, as a couple, take the decision that the wife should stay home with the children and so on. But with the increased activities and opportunities available, they may agree that maybe wifey can do certain things, and then you have now more people joining the employment line. So let's watch that. Next, we have inflation. Yes, inflation will affect their confidence because inflation means they're going to have to pay more for goods and services. And what really drives the supply of goods and services is labor. That's the main thing, When you pay for a painting, it's a man's labor you're paying for. When you buy food, it's a farmer's labor you're actually paying for. Yes, the farmer is going to pay for inputs, but even the inputs is labor that you're really paying for. So when there is an increase in inflation, there's going to be a demand by people for more money because their living standard is going to decline. And those who have the power to increase their living standard, the self-employed people, people like the farmers and so on, given the competition around them and outside of the island, they are going to hedge their bet, or if they are able to, increase the price of the goods and services they supply to you. And that now would mean that business raw material and the services that they use would also go up. So that will now dampen, or tend to, I should say, influence the confidence, because there are some people who might be able to drive the inflation or benefit from the inflation and others won't. So that's how inflation influences them. Interest rates, of course, is obvious. If interest rate is high, their confidence will be low, and if interest rate falls and them see where them can, expand business, or if not now go on, you're not buying nothing, and interest rate is low, it don't mean nothing to them. You understand? Unless what they intend to do is to retool, and that is another positive thing that the business will do when the demand is not really there. They're not seeing them things fly off of the shelf, but they feel that what they need to do is to retool so they can produce more for less, and maybe employ less people too, right? Then what they will do now is borrow the money at low interest rate, retool, and increase their profits that way, because them using the same manpower or less, and they're producing more cheaper. Yes, them have to lower the price, right, to stimulate you buying. Yes, that's what interest rate will do. And of course, we mentioned government policies already. Now, the fourth one says measures of business confidence. How you measure the business confidence now, such as the Purchasing Managers Index and the National Federation of Independent Business Small Business Optimism Index, are closely monitored by economists and policymakers. This is the jurisdiction that I got the information from. In Jamaica, they're probably looking at the Consumer Price Index, and I don't know what else, but Don Anderson should really explain where the information come from. And hopefully in one of these reports that I'm going to bring to you, they mention it. But they are getting the information for the business confidence from somewhere. At number 5, it says shifts in business confidence can be a leading indicator of changes in aggregate demand, as businesses tend to adjust their plans and actions before consumers. In other words, what they're saying is that once they believe that something will go happen in the economy, like for argument's sake, when the government announced last year that they were going to increase the minimum wage by June, the business people will be anticipating an increase in demand. When the government announced beforehand that they'll be giving out $20,000 to certain taxpayers in certain category, the business people again anticipate and start to buy in preparation. That's what they're talking about here. So that's it for the business confidence. Let's now move to consumer confidence and see what that is about. So, of course, the consumer confidence is less complicated than the business confidence. You see how many minutes I took to explain it? Yes, because it has many factors. But the consumer confidence, not so many. Consumer confidence is a measure of how optimistic or pessimistic consumers are about the economy and their personal financial situation, which can influence, it's about influence now, their spending behavior, and that spending behavior will then have an impact on total demand. That's what that is saying. In other words, the optimism or pessimism is about the current. It's about how the people feel about the current and future state of the economy, essentially reflecting their willingness to spend based on their perception now. So it's about perception too of their financial situation, which is often measured through surveys, right? So this is a survey that they have done, and this would have done the survey on consumer and business confidence. And then they said it's measured through surveys and expressed as a numerical index called the Consumer Confidence Index. So whenever they're talking about the consumer confidence, it is a survey that they've done among consumers, some number of consumers, and they would ask them certain questions to determine how they feeling about the current and future state of the economy, what are going on in the economy now, and therefore what they think is going to happen in the economy at some time in the future. That is what it measures. So your next question is, what are the key points about consumer confidence? It says here, impact on spending is one such. When consumer confidence is high, people tend to spend more. People tend to spend more money. Don't you find that that is what you do? When you feel good about things, man, like during the Christmas season, that is the reason why people spend so much during Christmas, because them have these nice little Christmas carol and songs make we feel nice and feel good, right? The year winding down, and therefore everybody look for present and Christmas tree and your bonus and all them kind of something there, and you want to spend when you feel good, right? Yes. So people tend to spend more money, which can stimulate economic growth. There is no can about it. It will. Conversely, low confidence leads to decreased spending and potential economic slowdowns. Yes. Anytime anything happens, like for example, you hear that there's a crisis downtown because of some crime, people lock down the downtown or lock down Spanish Town. Even though you're in Montego Bay, you feel it like it's you it happened to. And so you stop spending, right? So yes, it does affect how you behave, the things that you hear. And oftentimes I would try and urge everyone, in as much as you like to get in all these negative vibes, yes, you want to know what's happening in your country, but don't feed yourself constantly on these negative things that are coming out in the press. The crime situation, bad as it is not quite as bad as you think. Check out your own environment, the places that you go, and ask yourself how many times you have encountered crime, whether to you or others, how many murders committed in your area, how many robberies you hear committed in your area within a year, with even 2 years. And then ask yourself if you have a crime problem in your area, right? You're going to find that the vast majority, 90% possibly, will come to the conclusion that they have no crime problem. So where did you get the idea that there's a crime problem, huge crime problem, that you're going to make it influence even how you vote? You know where you get that idea from? Yes, when you watch TVJ News, when you watch CVM News, you read the Gleaner, the Observer, and you watch certain station. And it is not that they're wicked and bad. They're bringing you information. But what they're bringing you is an aggregate of what is happening all over the country. 5 murders a day? Shocking. Huh? And it take place in your area? Vast majority of the areas don't have any crime. And if they do have crime, it is very limited. Right? And what I'm saying to you is, it's because you're sitting at your TV day in and day out watching the news, and the news is bringing you these negative things that you feel it to your heart. You feel it for those people, and it causes you to have a negative feeling all the time, and create an impression in your mind that the country is overrun by crime, which is not true. And I want you to think about it. And you will see what I'm saying. Where you hear the crime taking place, where? And look at your own environment. Look at where you go and shop when you go downtown. How much time you go downtown and you hear say, man just get shot or people rob and all them kind of thing there. Or in Halfway or anywhere. It don't happen very often. You will find. But there are certain areas that is like it's just a crime place. Right? And those people have very different experiences from the rest of us. And that is where the police really need to concentrate them efforts to help those people. But I digress. Let me move along and see what else I have to say about the consumer confidence. So it says here how it's measured. Organizations like the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, yes, conduct surveys asking consumers about their current financial situation, future outlook, and job market perceptions, then aggregate these responses into a single index number. Now the aggregate again means, in this case means adding them, right? So they add them together and they come up with this index, and we will hear what that index number is. It says, interpretation of the index, a higher index value generally indicates greater consumer optimism and potential for increased spending, while a lower value suggests pessimism and a tendency to save more. You understand that? Great. So let me now take you over to what it was that Don Anderson found in his latest survey. And this was in the fourth quarter of 2024. So let us now hear what he has to say, and let me mention what the aggregate amount is. I will interrupt him and add in that figure for you because he did not mention it, or certainly it did not come out in this report. So let's listen now.
Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Despite an increase in food prices, Jamaicans are more confident in the economy. However, fewer people are likely to purchase a home or travel for vacation. And for the first time in years, business confidence is almost near pre-pandemic levels. That declaration at today's event hosted by the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce to release business and consumer indices for the last quarter of 2024. Kalisha Williams reports.
Many people have been complaining about high food prices over the past few months, especially given the instability in the weather. However, despite the challenge, more people have expressed confidence in the economy. In fact, consumer confidence has increased by 3.9% when compared to the third quarter of 2024. Chairman of Market Research Services Limited, Don Anderson, presented the data from the latest survey.
3.9% increase in consumer confidence in the last quarter against a slight fall off in the third quarter of 2.2 percentage points. So there's an uptick in terms of how consumers feel about the economy.
So Don Anderson said that there was a 3.9% increase. Now, this is a quarter by quarter survey, and we have to look at the 2024 third quarter to see what that figure was, and then add the 3.9% to see what the total is now. So for consumer confidence, in the third quarter of 2024, the index read 168.4 points. It's measured by points. So when you add the 3.9 points increase, what you'll get now is 172.3 points. So this is the latest consumer confidence survey figure, 172.3 points. You may want to note that down. All right, let's continue to listen.
The factors driving the increase in consumer confidence are positive changes in attitudes towards current business conditions and the job market. 33% of Jamaicans believe that business conditions have improved, up from the 28% in the third quarter of 2024. 33.6% said the job situation is better compared to the 27.3% in the third quarter.
Now you're going to hear Don Anderson erroneously claim that the over 600 consumers that he surveyed were concerned about the high unemployment rate. That must have been a mistake because, as you can see, 33% of them were optimistic about the job situation, and that was an increase of 6.3% and 5% increase in the number of persons who are saying that the business conditions improved.
However, as for household income,
When you ask them about household income, 51.3% said, well, we expect it to increase. But this is down from the third quarter, where 52.2%.
so what impact does this have on people's plans to purchase a home, car, or vacation? Mr. Anderson says consumers are being cautious and conservative.
So when we look at home purchases, that's down by 1.6 percentage points over the last quarter, and also 2 percentage points over the same period last year. That, of course, is a higher target. Purchasing a home generally is far more costly than purchasing a vehicle or purchasing a vacation.
And so more Jamaicans, 26%, are willing to purchase a motor car compared to the third quarter of 2024, while 42% are likely to purchase a vacation, down from 45.3% in the third quarter. Now to business confidence. Surprisingly, according to Mr. Anderson, business confidence has increased by 12.9%.
Business confidence surged to 149.3, which is almost the peak since we started to monitor this particular index. But notice the peak was just pre-COVID, 2019, 151.3 was the index then. It's moved to 149.3. It's a significant jump over the last quarter.
As a matter of fact, the information that was published in the Gleaner last year for the third quarter of 2024, the business confidence that Don Anderson reported stood at 132.2 points, which means that the business confidence jump, the significant jump they were talking about, was 17.1% and not the 12.9% that Don Anderson reported and the TVJ repeated without checking.
As for the factors, the respondents said increased investments and expansion plans and positive changes in the economy influenced their attitudes.
What about profitability? Same pattern. 75.7% said their profits will improve, as against 68% in the third quarter of 2024 and 70.5% in the fourth quarter of 2023. So all positive indicators. Businesses are very, very optimistic at this point in time.
And while both businesses and consumers are optimistic about the economy over the next 12 months, there are challenges.
High prices for goods and services. So businesses are complaining that it is difficult for them to actually, conduct their business because they're also being impacted by high prices of goods and services. Very much like the consumers are saying, we're facing significantly increased prices, increasing crime, unstable foreign exchange, and high unemployment.
You heard that? What did Don Anderson say? Make we listen again.
Increasing crime, unstable foreign exchange, and high unemployment, and high unemployment, and high unemployment.
I want you to notice that Don Anderson was reading from something. He said that his surveys showed that the consumers, were optimistic about the jobs and the business were optimistic about, the condition of the business, right? Profits high, and the consumers, 6.5% of them were more optimistic about the job prospect. That was in the last quarter. Remember now, for the crime, the statistics didn't come out until the end of the year when they said the crime went down, I think, in all categories, right? Now, here is Don Anderson telling us, who paying attention to these things, that the consumers are concerned about high unemployment rate. Which era am I talking about? This is the type of thing that I tell you that this deceptive man is doing. Which part in Jamaica am going to get people to tell him now? Right? that the unemployment rate in Jamaica is high, when he himself produced data to say that the consumers are optimistic about the jobs, which is backed up by what the PIOJ said in their survey, that the unemployment rate is now at 3.5%. I don't understand this man. He was reading from a prepared text, and the media house lapped it up and failed to ask him for an explanation or clarity about this discrepancy.
643 consumers and 111 business representatives were interviewed for the survey. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
So let us now listen to Nationwide's report on the same survey.
Despite recession fears and a period of significant economic shocks, both consumer and business confidence have improved in the final quarter of 2024. According to pollster Don Anderson, most consumers surveyed remain hopeful but cautious.
Consumer confidence moved up by 3.9 percentage points, that's under 4 percentage points, from a slight fall off of about 2 percentage points the previous quarter. 3.9% increase in consumer confidence in the last quarter against a slight fall off in the third quarter of 2.2 percentage points. So there's an uptick in terms of how consumers feel about the economy.
The survey found that there was a 2-point increase in consumer confidence in the business sector. However, there was a small drop-off in expectations surrounding household income.
What about household income? What is interesting is that when you ask them about household income, 51.3% said, well, we expect it to increase. But this is down from the third quarter, where 52.2%. So, they're in a way at cross purposes. But this is how consumers think. Consumers are saying, well, we believe that things are going to get better, but yet they don't think their household income is going to increase to the extent that people felt so in the third quarter of 2024.
On the business side, there's been a major improvement in confidence for the fourth quarter, nearly matching the pre-COVID-19 peak.
Business confidence surged to 149.3, which is almost the peak since we started to monitor this particular index. Notice the peak was just pre-COVID, 2019. 151.3 was the index then. It's moved to 149.3. It's a significant jump over the last quarter. So we're talking about a 12.9% positive movement in terms of how businesses feel about the economy. Now, we have to bear in mind that we're dealing with the fourth quarter, Christmas. What we have found is that the fourth quarter data tends to be a little bit more, in a way, buoyant, if you wish, because people are planning for anticipating Christmas.
Mr. Anderson says the majority of firms found the business climate favorable in the fourth quarter, with expectations of profits and expansion.
Almost every one of the indices that we plug into to come to that overall business confidence index moved positively forward. Current profit was better than expected. 25% of the firms interviewed said their current profit was better than expected. And that was an improvement of 22.9% in the third quarter. When we look at investment and expansion plans, 68.5% of the businesses believe that's a good time to invest. And that's a huge jump from the previous quarter of 53.4% and, of course, the fourth quarter of 2023 at 53.7%. So we're now getting back to a kind of bullish environment in the eyes of the businesses.
The survey comes amid an overall economic contraction for the previous quarter of 3.5%. There's potential for a further contraction in the fourth quarter. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Economics is fine. The debt is coming down. We have strong reserves. We have interest rates which are starting to come down again, etc.
Wait, what? What did he just say?
Economics is fine. The debt is coming down. We have strong reserves. We have interest rates which are starting to come down again, etc.
Comrades, Jamaica is at a point where change is necessary. The last 10 years have been dedicated to fixing the public finances and the debt crisis. Now we need to move forward. We've solved that issue substantially.
And that's an excellent positive note to end this video on. So I want to thank you all for joining me. and sharing, liking, subscribing, and leaving your comments in the comments section. So until next time, please do take good care of yourselves and walk good.